Let me tell you something, family. One of the greatest tricks of the enemy is convincing you to pour yourself out for people who never had the capacity to carry you in the first place. You've been crying, questioning, asking God, why do I keep feeling empty even though I'm surrounded by people? And God is whispering back, because some of the ones you're surrounded by are not really with you. You've been begging for loyalty from people who are just pretending. And you've been investing your time, your heart, and your purpose into places that don't honor who you are. But tonight, I came to remind you your time is too precious, your purpose is too valuable, and your calling is too urgent to waste it on fake people. When we talk about fake people, I need you to understand that I am not just talking about those who lie or gossip. I'm talking about individuals who camouflage themselves in your life to look like support when in reality they are silent saboteurs. Fake people are the ones who clap for you publicly but secretly hope you fall. They are the ones who tell you, I'm here for you. But the moment you really need them, their phones are off, their doors are closed, and their hearts are unavailable. They take from you, they drink from your well, but they never pour back into you. And the danger of fake people is not just their presence, it is the way they drain your purpose and delay your destiny. You see, destiny is time sensitive. The Bible says, teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. That means your time is currency. Every minute you waste with the wrong people is a deposit into a place that gives you no return. Every moment you give to someone who doesn't value your heart, your calling, or your assignment is a piece of your purpose that is being stolen. Fake people are like spiritual thieves. They disguise themselves as companions, but they are really distractions. Some of you have been wondering why you feel tired all the time, why your creativity is on pause, why your joy feels buried under layers of discouragement. And the truth is, it's not that you're lazy or unmotivated, it's that you've been feeding leeches. You've been connected to people who pull energy from you but never refill you. Fake people thrive on your light, but they never want to generate their own. And when you let them stay, you begin to mistake exhaustion for normalcy. You start thinking it's normal to always be drained, always be the strong one, always carry the weight. But it's not normal. It's a sign that you are surrounded by the wrong circle. God did not call you to build your destiny around people who cannot even celebrate your small wins. Fake people can't stand your shine, so they will dim it with backhanded compliments. They can't stand your growth, so they will question your every move. They can't stand your elevation, so they will try to pull you back to old patterns and familiar places. And the tragedy is when you begin to believe them. Fake people will make you second guess what God already confirmed. They will sow seeds of doubt so that you never step fully into the identity God gave you. Think about it. Jesus himself had to deal with fake people. Judas walked with him, talked with him, ate with him, and still betrayed him with a kiss. A kiss is supposed to be a sign of intimacy, but Judas used it as a weapon of betrayal. That's what fake people do. They use closeness as a cover up. They come near not to protect you, but to position themselves in a place where they can hurt you most. And if Jesus had to endure Judas, you better believe you'll have some Judases in your life too. But here's the key: Judas was necessary for Jesus to get to the cross. That means even fake people have an expiration date, and they cannot stop the plan of God. What they can do, however, is delay you if you let them stay longer than they were supposed to. Sometimes we give Judas a chair at the table God never told us to set. We confuse assignment with attachment. Just because someone came into your life doesn't mean they were meant to stay. Some people are seasonal, but you turn them into permanent fixtures. And now you're frustrated because what was supposed to be a temporary lesson has become a long-term burden. Let me tell you this: fake people will drain your purpose by keeping you busy with their drama. You spend hours trying to explain yourself, defend yourself, and prove yourself to people who were never going to believe in you anyway. You waste emotional energy fixing what was never yours to fix. Fake people love confusion because confusion keeps you distracted. As long as you are entangled in their web of lies, you cannot move freely into the assignment God gave you. That's why discernment is so important. You need the wisdom to recognize when someone is clapping for you, but their heart isn't aligned with their hands. You need the Holy Spirit to reveal the difference between genuine correction and disguised criticism. You need to learn to ask God, is this connection meant to grow me or drain me? Because every connection has fruit. Real people produce fruit that nourishes your soul, but fake people produce fruit that poisons your spirit. When you keep fake people close, you will notice certain symptoms in your own life. You'll notice a lack of peace. You always feel unsettled after being around them. You'll notice a loss of identity. You start shrinking yourself to keep them comfortable. You'll notice procrastination. You stop moving forward because you're too entangled in managing their feelings. And before you know it, months and years have passed, and your destiny is still waiting for you to catch up. Family, the enemy knows he cannot destroy your purpose. So he uses fake people as his strategy to distract you from it. He places counterfeits in your life who look like friends, sound like supporters, but operate like enemies. And if you are not careful, you will hand them access to areas of your heart they never earned. You will give them backstage passes to a show they didn't pay the price for. And when the curtain falls, you'll realize they never came to cheer, they came to critique. But here is the truth: you do not have to stay bound to fake people. You can choose to protect your purpose. You can choose to reclaim your time. You can choose to stop pouring into places that never poured back into you. God has given you authority over your relationships. He has given you wisdom to discern who belongs in your inner circle. And he has given you courage to release what no longer aligns with where he's taking you. There are people in your life right now who are placeholders. They are only there until you decide you are ready to move into the fullness of who God created you to be. The moment you step into that fullness, you will see them fade away. And I need you to be okay with that. I need you to trust that the God who gave you purpose will also give you the right people to walk with you. You don't have to beg for loyalty. You don't have to audition for love. You don't have to compromise for connection. You were not created to live a life tied down by the weight of counterfeit relationships. You were created to soar, and soaring requires letting go of dead weight. Some of you have been asking God for elevation, but you're still holding on to anchors. And God is saying, I can't take you higher until you release what's holding you down. Fake people are heavy, not because they weigh so much, but because they add nothing to your flight. They are dead weight, present but useless, close but unhelpful. Near but not necessary discernment is one of the most powerful gifts you can carry when it comes to protecting your purpose, because discernment allows you to see beyond what is being presented and into the truth of what is really happening. Fake people don't walk into your life with a neon sign flashing counterfeit. They come smiling, supportive, often offering just enough affirmation to make you feel safe. They mimic what is real, but their hearts are not aligned with you. And if you don't sharpen your discernment, you will find yourself mistaking counterfeit connections for covenant relationships. Discernment is not suspicion. Suspicion operates from fear, but discernment is rooted in the Spirit of God. Suspicion makes you paranoid, always questioning motives without peace. Discernment, however, gives you clarity, allowing you to navigate relationships with wisdom and grace. It's the difference between cutting off someone prematurely because of insecurity and recognizing the fruit of someone's life and knowing whether they are truly aligned with your destiny. Fake people can say the right words, but discernment allows you to sense the inconsistency between their words and their actions. Discernment also protects your energy. Some of you are tired, not because your assignment is too heavy, but because you've been carrying people God never called you to carry. Discernment will show you that you are pouring into someone who only takes, that you are explaining yourself to someone who never intended to understand, that you are giving loyalty to someone who never planned to give it back. And once you see it clearly, you cannot unsee it. That's when you are faced with the decision to either obey discernment or ignore it. Ignoring it keeps you trapped. Obeying it sets you free. Think about how many times in your life you've said, something told me not to trust them, or I felt like something was off, but I ignored it. That something wasn't coincidence. That was discernment. That was God's Spirit alerting you that this person's intentions were not as pure as they appeared. But many of us silence discernment because we don't want to deal with confrontation. We don't want to hurt feelings. We don't want to be alone. And so we stay connected to fake people because it feels easier than facing the truth. But the longer you silence discernment, the louder the consequences become. Discernment also reveals timing. Sometimes a person isn't fake. They're just not assigned to your life in this season. And if you don't discern timing, you will either open doors too early or close doors too late. Not everyone who leaves you is fake. Some were seasonal. But without discernment, you won't know the difference between someone who was supposed to walk with you for a chapter and someone who was trying to sabotage the whole story. Fake people are not always malicious. Sometimes they're just misaligned. But misalignment can be just as damaging as intentional betrayal. There are people who look good on paper, who check every box of what you think you need, but something in your spirit says, this doesn't feel right. That's discernment. Don't ignore it. Because no matter how attractive the package looks, if the spirit isn't right, it will drain you. Discernment tells you when to stop entertaining conversations, when to stop defending yourself, when to stop negotiating your worth. Discernment says, protect your peace, protect your purpose, protect your future. We often pray for blessings, but blessings require boundaries. Discernment helps you set those boundaries. It teaches you how to guard your heart without building walls. Fake people will test your boundaries, pushing to see how much of yourself you are willing to compromise. They will act offended when you set limits because they were never there for you, they were there for what you gave them. But discernment will empower you to stand firm, to say no without guilt, to remove access without apology. The story of Samson reminds us what happens when discernment is ignored. Samson had strength, but he lacked discernment when it came to Delilah. She didn't hide her intentions. She asked him directly where his strength came from. But because he lacked discernment, he gave away the very secret God entrusted to him. And when he laid his head in the wrong lap, he lost the strength that was designed to carry his purpose. That's what happens when you ignore discernment. You end up weakened by the very people you thought you could trust. Discernment will also test your obedience. Sometimes God will reveal to you that someone you love deeply is not meant to go where he's taking you. And that's hard. Because fake people aren't always enemies. They can be family, friends, even people you've known your whole life. But discernment will show you that familiarity does not equal destiny. Just because someone grew up with you doesn't mean they're called to grow with you. And if you're not willing to let go, you will end up stuck where you started, still surrounded by people who clap for your past, but can't handle your future. You cannot afford to ignore discernment in this season. Your purpose is too critical, your destiny is too close, your calling is too weighty. God is preparing to elevate you, but he will not take you higher until you have the discernment to handle the altitude. Because fake people at ground level can annoy you, but fake people at higher levels can destroy you. The higher you go, the more costly your connections become. That's why discernment is not optional, it's survival. Discernment sharpens your vision. It teaches you how to see who people really are, not just who they pretend to be. It gives you wisdom to know when to speak and when to stay silent, when to engage and when to walk away, when to fight for a connection and when to let it go. Discernment doesn't just protect you from being hurt. It protects you from being delayed. Because sometimes the enemy doesn't need to destroy you. He just needs to distract you long enough that you never reach your promise. Fake people thrive in spaces where discernment is absent. They thrive when you crave validation so much that you overlook the warning signs. They thrive when you are too busy to pray and too distracted to listen. They thrive when you confuse charisma with character,